Hello friends, my name is David, and I am your coach of the FC Popplio, and we are here with a draft analysis for the Pokemon Premier League Division 2, Season 5, all that nonsense. So, it's a Wi-Fi league, and it's a point-based system. We got 16th overall. Yeah, that's kind of all the details you really need to know. Also, as you can see on the screen, I put out a tweet asking about fun mons to try. Oh, also I'm sorry, I just woke up like an hour ago and I want to bang this out of the way real quick. I tweeted out, if you don't follow me on Twitter, do so because I'm hilarious. I asked what kind of fun mon you wanted to see me draft around, and for some reason all of you decided that Stack Attacka was the mon to draft around, as opposed to like interesting stuff like Rabombi and Minior, but you know, to each his own, I guess. So Stack Attacka won, and like I said, I had 15th pick in the draft, or 16th out of 16. We get 115, maybe 120 points, I don't remember. But regardless, round 1, I decided to get Stack Attacka. I'm not going to sit here and describe like, oh, this is what Beast Boost does, this is the moves it gets. I'm going to just tell you why I picked it and why I feel like it fit on the team. I picked Stacka because it's a monster, 1, and 2, it won the Twitter poll, so I'm just going to pick it. Above the Mon's picture you'll see the nickname, and in the box a reference. If you get it, cool. If not, whatever. But yeah, Stacka's cool. It hits really hard, has Trick Room sets, and overall it's just a really good Pokemon, and I had zero clue how to build around this thing, so bear with me as we experiment and try to learn how to win with Stack Attacka. So to sort of pair with it, I got a Hydreigon because it was new. Sort of, it gets defogged now, it's making it a really nice bulky mon, and I just wanted a good dragon and a good answer to like bulky psychics, because I felt like that's something that Stacka could really be annoyed by, like bulky psychics with ground coverage. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just picked Hydreigon because it was cool and it was new and it got U-turn and taunt, and it really helped stall breaking, which is something that Stacka doesn't really like dealing with, just fat shit that could recover on him. So Stacka breaks the offense, Hydreigon helps break stall, and yeah, Hydreigon's a cool dude. It can run spec sets and all that fun stuff. So I had to wait 30 picks, yeah, that sounds about right, for it to come back to me. And just sort of seeing what was left in the pool, I was like, oh, Nidoqueen's there. It's not going to come back to me round 5, so I might as well grab it here. Nidoqueen's cool. Rocks are important, so then Stacka doesn't have to set them. T-Spikes are great for like any Pokemon. Like any team loves T-Spikes, so of course I'm going to get one of the better ones in the game, at least in draft format. Sheer Force is cool, so it breaks stuff, and it's slow enough that it could abuse Trick Room if I want to set it with Stacka. So yeah, to pair with it, I got a Serperior, and it was recommended by Greg. I asked him, how the hell do I build with this Stack Attacka? And he was just like, Serp sounds cool. And I was like, yeah, it does. Serp also gets defog, so it's also a brand new defogger. And it's really cool. People have to prep for it because Leaf Storm's annoying, especially with Contrary. Subseed's cool. It just helps break things. And yeah, Stacka plus Serp plus Hydreigon all get sort of checked by like fat steals, but on the plus side, they all have sort of ways of dealing with fat steals, and more importantly than that, since they're all checked by fat steal, it really wears down an opponent's steel type. So if I don't win with one, I can then win with the others, and it really pressures my opponent to bring their fat steal and bring it defensively, which means mons like Nidoqueen and mons like what I draft later really benefit from all this. So now that 30 picks go by, I don't have a water type, I don't have like great options in general for things. I don't have a lot of support. So I decided to fix the support part, and I get Comfy. Comfy is one of my favorite mons ever of Gen 7. It's just absolutely adorable, and there's no other mon that can do what it does. It's probably my favorite fairy type in draft, aside from like maybe the Tapus. And even then, I'm not a huge fan of some of the Tapus. But Comfy's a monster. I draft it any opportunity that I can. So, and I felt like it really benefited from the things that that the rest of my team benefited from, or gave it. It also pressures steals to come in and try and check it, because if they're not fat, then they have trouble getting whittled down, and if they get whittled down and the steals are gone, then Comfy just wins, and that's just sort of the general plan going into everything. +3 priority on things like Draining Kiss is really good, and yeah, it's just a Comfy. It's just adorable. Like I said, I need support, so up comes Uxie. It's a third Trick Room setter. Outside of so far I have Stacka, Comfy, and Uxie as my Trick Room setters. With Stacka, maybe Nidoqueen abusing it, maybe Hydreigon too, depending on the speed of my opponent. Uxie just provides support. It's a good rocker. It has cleric support, much like Comfy, so then Comfy doesn't have to do it. U-turn for momentum lets me bring in stuff like Stacka and Superior and Nidoqueen to sort of break. And overall, it's just a good mon, really good bulky pivot type thing. It's really fast, so that's always good. And yeah, just support for my team, because my team felt really aggressive. And up next is Keldeo. I needed a fat water, and Keldeo is pretty fat while also murdering things. Like I said, all my stuff is sort of checked by steals, and I can't just rely on, hey, I'm just going to pressure it by beating on it repeatedly with things that steal checks. I still wanted things that could break steals and switch into steals, and while Nidoqueen can break steals, most steel types get Earthquake, and that really hurts the Nidoqueen. Whereas not as many steals get good ways of hitting a Keldeo. And Keldeo is just disgustingly strong. I don't feel like I need to describe it. I think it's even better in draft than it is in standard play. That's probably a not popular opinion. I thought that way in Gen 6, and that was definitely not a popular opinion then, but Keldeo is just disgusting. It doesn't matter how one-dimensional the mon is, like, you still need to bring a Keldeo check or else you just lose to it. And that's something I feel is really cool about it. Up next is Palus. I wanted something slow that kind of hit hard. I wanted something that was immune to electric, so then Nidoqueen didn't have to come every week. I figured a ghost type was important because things like Mega Kang and strong fighting types really hurt this team. And yeah, Palus got cool stuff like Shore Up this, well, it had Shore Up. It got Stealth Rocks this gen, so it's now my 4th rocker, and I think that's plenty in terms of rockers, but it's also a really interesting mon. I'm curious if I'm going to use it very much. I'm not sure how much I like it, but it, for what I wanted my pick to do, it does it, and that's all I could really ask of a Pokemon, honestly. And I sort of just picked it with Keldeo. So, again, 30 picks go by, and I decide to get my Mega. Let me just say, these last 4 picks, as I adjust myself, were all really tough. I knew what I wanted on my team up until Keldeo, and then from then, the last 4, I was just like, I have all these points left over, and I want to cover all these different roles that I still didn't get to cover. And it was a lot of trouble to figure out what I wanted to do with it. I'm saying a lot, but anyway, Glalie. Glalie's cool. It's a fun Mega. I built with it before, but I've never actually used it before in draft. I used it all the time. I use it all the time in ladder. It's one of my favorite Megas in RU, and it gets spikes. It breaks things. I had a chance of picking Stack Attacka plus Mega Kang, and I was really debating it. but ultimately I decided not to for one key reason. I didn't want to use return because return on Wi-Fi just sounds like a nightmare. I didn't want things like return. I didn't want Pokemon that had like weird forms that you had to get, like Kyurem Black or something. It just seemed like a lot of pressure and a lot of extra effort. But at the end of the day, I ended up drafting Mega Glalie, and I regret it for that point, but less so because Glalie likes Double Edge more than Kang does, because people are going to bring Rocky Helmets for Mega Kangaskhan. People aren't as much going to bring Rocky Helmets for Mega Glalie, and if they do, then like, cool. It also has that same sort of pressure that Stacka and Superior and Comfy all apply, where like they need their bulky steel to take on a Mega Glalie, or else they're like in a lot of trouble, because even bulky waters get hit by freeze dry. But the big thing about Glalie is priority and spikes. I wanted some more priority because my team was pretty slow using, and priority on this team is like Sucker Punch Nidoqueen, Draining Kiss Comfy, Aqua Jet Keldeo, and now Glalie. So yeah, it's a wall breaker. It just does stuff. It can win at the end of the game because Ice Shard's good, and if I can get the speed on it, or like I get rid of all the fast mons, then Glalie just kind of breaks shit in. So, what did I get on the same round as Mega Glalie, you may ask? Well, I got an Electric. Now, I feel like I have to defend this thing when I shouldn't really have to. If you look at its stats, its bulk is actually quite respectable. I think it's like 70s or 80s or something. And then with an Eviolite, it's super fat. It kind of wall steals in the same way that Keldeo does. It comes in on steals very easily because they can't really hurt it. And its support move pool is actually disgusting. It has things like knockoff, superpower. I don't know if it gets superpower actually, but knockoff Super Fang is what I meant to say. Acid Spray, Coil. It's a fun mon. You should check it out. I'm planning on bringing it a lot, and if you know me, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's definitely bringing it at least twice. And yeah, because I like using my low tier stuff, unlike a lot of people who draft low tier stuff like, yeah, this seems really cool, and then they just never bring it. No, I draft everything for a purpose, and everything's gonna show up eventually, I'm sure. I think if anything's not gonna show up, it might just be like Hydreigon or something. But yeah, Baby Eel's cool. I like it as much as I like Electros, probably more than I like Electros, because Electros was stupidly expensive in the PPL. As you can see, I have the prices over there next to their names. Like I said, I don't remember how many points we started with. I think it was 120. I'm 90% sure it was 120. Somebody could do the math after my last pick. But yeah, Baby Eel wasn't my last pick. I just didn't know what to get as the last mon, so I was like, I want to get the things that I know I want. So like, I was like, I know I want Palus and Mega Glalie, Eel. Those were all on my list of roles that I needed. And then I got to the end, and then I was like, I really want this one mon, but if I don't get it, then that's fine. It's not as expendable. It's more expendable than the other three that I picked. Yes, surprisingly, Baby Eel is less expendable than my last pick. And my last pick, of course, is named after another one of my friends, and it is Talonflame. I picked Talonflame because, one, I didn't have a fire. Two, it lets me come in on things like fairy types really well, which is something that only my Stakataka did, and my Nidoqueen to an extent. It's also very good at walling fire types, or checking fire types I should say, because my fire switch-ins were Hydreigon and Keldeo, and I guess Palisand to an extent. Grass types were also very hard for me to switch into. Just a whole bunch of stuff was very difficult for me to switch into. So a sort of fat Talonflame just seemed really useful on my team. And it paired really nicely with Stakataka, because if something wants to lock into Stone Edge, like let's say a Choice Scarf Mon wants to click Stone Edge to sort of break my Talon, I just let my Talon go, and then I bring in Stakataka, and Staka resists rock, and then I could just set up with Staka and go for game. So they're really forced into awkward 50-50s that they don't want to make, where they could choose to either lose to Talonflame or lose to Stakataka or lose to Glalie or lose to whatever, really. And Talon just provides a lot of good support for the team, both offensively and defensively, and I think that was the main reason I fit it. Yeah. Let me just jump into Z moves before I talk about the rest of my stuff. So Zmods I chose were Staka and Talon. Talon for obvious reasons, because 8-point Talon is cool and all, and it's actually really cheap, but it's super cheap if you consider that you get a Z Brave Bird, a priority Z Brave Bird, plus then a normal priority Brave Bird, and that's kind of fun. Gale Wings is still a good ability despite what many think. It's still really useful for, like, if you can keep hazards off the board, and I have 3 forms of hazard control: Hydreigon, Superior, and Comfy. None of which really want to run Defog. Serp can fit it because it doesn't really need many moves aside from Leaf Storm. But yeah, Talon shouldn't have a problem keeping rocks off. And Staka's just a monster with Z moves, or even without Z moves. But Z Trick Room, Stakataka is like Z move plus Trick Room. Stakataka is very strong. Z move Talonflame with SD is very strong, so I figured those were my best options. I debated Hydreigon, I debated Superior, I debated Keldeo, but those didn't really give me the points I wanted. And if you notice, I have leftover points. We had 25 points for our Z budget, and I'm using 22 of them. I didn't have a 3-pointer. I thought about giving it to Eel just for memes and because I might actually bring it, but I should go into my sort of thoughts. I'm debating dropping my Talonflame and maybe dropping my Palus as well, because I don't really like them as mods, and I feel like I need something else. I need more fat things, and more importantly, I need more things to abuse Trick Room, because right now Staka, maybe Palisand, maybe Nidoqueen, and maybe Mega Glalie are my Trick Room abusers. And while that's not the worst thing ever, having another slow thing would be really useful. Whether I do anything with these mods or if I drop them, I'll have to see. There are some matchups coming up that I really like both Palisand and Talonflame for, so I might just keep them. I might make some changes later, but overall I'm really excited to use this team. It may not look the best on paper, but it's really cohesive. It's a lot more cohesive than it looks, and 100% it looks super fun to use, so I'm really excited about it. And I hope you guys are too. If you are, leave a like, comment, tell me what you think about the team, especially the round 1 Stakataka. You might think it's a meme, but I don't meme my drafts. I'm lying, I meme all my drafts. But it's a cool I don't know, it's a cool team. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you're excited to see me actually play with Wi-Fi for once. Jesus, I hate Wi-Fi. But anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.